Joining us now is Jim Walsh. He's an international security expert with the MIT Security Studies Program and an expert on Iran. Thanks for joining us. First of all, I know you just listened to President Obama's remarks. What did you think of his tone and his statement?
Well, it was a pretty somber speech. I thought it was a pretty tough speech. He still held out the possibility of some negotiation. I don't think that's the way the Iranians are going to hear it. They're going to hear it as being accusatory, and they're going to feel compelled to respond and issue their own statement. But in general, I thought it was a pretty tough speech.
You know, this is the fourth resolution penalizing Iran for refusing to stop enriching uranium. We heard Obama saying these are the toughest sanctions ever. But some people say that they still don't go far enough. They're not exactly crippling. Do you believe these new sanctions will have any impact?
Well, I think, when we talk about Iran, 90% of the conversation is about sanctions, and sanctions are really only about 10% of the issue. Listen, if Iran is determined to move forward, then sanctions, no matter what sanctions you envisage, are not going to stop them. Sanctions are simply a tool. We can impose costs. We can impose some economic costs, and I think the costs here will be modest. And we can impose political costs, ostracize them. I think they dislike that even more. But, they're not a magic wand. No sanction bill is going to be a magic wand that's going to force Iran to do what it doesn't want to do. That's only going to happen if somehow Iran is able to sit down at the negotiation table and work out an arrangement. Now, Iran has had a political meltdown this past year. The president referenced the election nearly a year ago. And so it's not surprising, I think, that they haven't been very responsive because they've been dealing with stuff at home and have been paralyzed by that.
Yeah. Let's talk about the vote breakdown in the Security Council for a second. There were 15 members, 12 voted in favor, 2 against, Turkey and Brazil, and then Lebanon abstained. Brazil and Turkey, of course, recently reached that fuel swap agreement with Iran. What's your take on that impact on the whole thing?
Well, I think that's one of the political costs. I think the administration is going to say today that this was a victory, a diplomatic victory, and it was. But we do seem to be having problems with Turkey, and I think that's a concern. Turkey is a NATO ally. It's very important to us. And I think the Turkish Foreign Ministry and the Prime Minister are unhappy that we sort of shunted aside their effort and went forward with the sanctions. This comes at a time, as you well know, where Turkey is also having a problem with another U.S. ally, Israel. So I worry a little bit about Turkey, but Brazil and Turkey were going to vote against this thing. No doubt about it.
All right, Jim, we're out of time. Jim Walsh, international security expert, thank you for joining us.